Hello everyone and welcome to Digestible News. My name is Corey and I'm here to help you improve your English while staying informed about what's happening in Korea and beyond in the wider world. Today is Friday, April 3rd, 2026, and we have 8 great stories for you. We'll talk about BTS making headlines again, a very strange food recall in Korea, a historic space launch, among many other things. So before we start, remember that you can find the full transcript, the newspaper, in the comments down below. All right, let's get started with today's first story. This story will use these words. Number 1, corridor. This is a noun. It means a long, narrow passage, some hallway, especially inside a building. Example, the students walked quietly through the corridor between classes. Choreography, this is a noun. The sequence of planned movements in a dance or performance. Example, the choreography in the music video was so complex that it took weeks to learn. Renewed, this is an adjective. It means happening again with fresh energy or enthusiasm, or restored. It's made new, to renew something. An example, after a long vacation, she came back to work with a renewed sense of motivation. All right, BTS has done it again. On April 1st, the group released the official music video for their song 2.0, a track from their 5th album, Arirang, which we talked about recently. The video is already one of the most talked about K-pop releases of the year, and for good reason. It takes inspiration from one of the most famous Korean films ever made. The music video is inspired by the 2003 Korean film Old Boy, directed by Park Chan-wook. If you haven't seen the film, it is known for a very famous scene where the main character fights a long hallway full of people, all in one continuous shot, one shot that doesn't stop and cut. BTS recreated this scene in their own way. In the 2.0 music video, the 7 members RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook all step out of an elevator dressed in sharp suits. They find themselves facing a group of tough-looking men in a dark, narrow corridor. But instead of fighting with weapons, like in the film, BTS uses something much more powerful, their music and dance moves. The members rap, sing, and perform choreography to defeat their opponents, all filmed in the same one-take style as the original movie scene. The music video also includes fun references to BTS's own history. Sharp-eyed fans, or attentive, concentrating fans, noticed choreography from some of their older hit songs appearing in the video, which gave it a feeling of looking back at the past while moving forward into something new. The song itself was hip-hop and trap elements and was written by several of the members, including RM, J-Hope, V, Jungkook, and Suga. The lyrics are about BTS entering a new chapter, what they're calling BTS 2.0, a fresh and updated version of the group after their time away during military service. The album Arirang is described as representing their new musical identities and a sense of growth and renewed direction. On the Billboard Hot 100 chart, 2.0 debuted at number 50. This is a strong result for a B-side track, meaning a song that is not the main single of the album. The lead single, Swim, had already debuted at number 1 on the same chart. The album Arirang also reached number 1 on the Billboard 200, making it BTS's 7th number 1 album. It has sold 641,000 equivalent units in its first week, which is the biggest debut week ever recorded for a K-pop album. We talked about this last time. In the United States, This is clearly one of the biggest moments of BTS's career, and fans around the world are excited to see what they will do next. Their world tour is also now underway, with the first concerts taking place in Korea at Goyang Stadium. Our second story will use these words. It's about durian. Recall is a verb or a noun. It means to officially ask for a product to be returned because of a problem or safety issue. An example is the car company issued a recall after discovering a problem with the brakes. Pungent, this is an adjective. It means having a very strong and sharp smell or taste. Usually smell, but it can also be taste. Example, the pungent smell of the cheese filled the entire kitchen. Manufacturing, this is a noun. It means the process of making products in large quantities in a factory. An example, the smartphone manufacturing process involves hundreds of workers and machines. All right. Now for a story that has made a lot of people in Korea laugh and maybe feel a little sick at the same time. A popular melon-flavored cream bun sold at convenience stores across South Korea has been recalled after customers started complaining about a very unpleasant smell. When people opened the packaging, they were expecting the fresh, sweet smell of melon. Instead, they were greeted with something a little bit different, but maybe the same color. Customers quickly took to social media to share their experiences. Many described the smell as sewer-like. One person wrote that it smelled like weird poop. Another person said that even after sealing the bread bag, the smell stayed in the room, which they described as shocking. One customer even reported that their cat, who normally loves bread, refused to eat it and treated it like a toilet. So what happened? The answer turns out to be both simple and surprising. The smell was not caused by the bread going bad or being spoiled. It was caused by the wrong flavoring being used during the manufacturing process. According to Channel A, the company that supplies the flavoring made a labeling error. They labeled their durian flavoring as melon flavoring. When the bread manufacturer added what they thought was a melon flavoring, they were actually adding durian. If you're not familiar with durian, I'm sure you are, but it is a large fruit from Southeast Asia that is well known for having an extremely strong and pungent smell. Many people describe it as smelling like garbage, sewage, or very strong cheese. The smell is so powerful that durian is actually banned on public transport in countries like Singapore, and many hotels in Asia do not allow guests to bring it inside. While durian is very popular in countries like Thailand, Malaysia, and Vietnam, it is not a common food in South Korea. Most Korean consumers had never smelled it before, which made the experience even more surprising and unpleasant. Around 20,000 cream buns were removed from convenience stores across the country after the problem was discovered. The company apologized to customers and confirmed that all affected products had been replaced and that refunds and exchanges had been processed. The manufacturer explained that because durian flavoring is made from a melon-like base with a strong fermented odor added, they failed to notice the difference during their quality checks. It was an honest mistake, but one that certainly gave a lot of Korean consumers an experience they will not forget. All right. If you're enjoying this episode, please consider giving it a like and subscribing as well. It really helps our English learners find this content, tells the algorithm that we're worth watching. You can also follow me on any social medias. You can find those in the comments down below. If you'd like, please go right ahead and do so. I'll take a quick sip from my voice. So nice. All right, let's continue with some news. This one is more international news. We'll learn these words. Diplomatic. It is an adjective meaning relating to the official relationship between countries. An example, the two countries agreed to restore diplomatic ties after years of conflict. Tribute, this is a noun. It means an act, statement, or gift that is meant to show respect and honor for someone. An example is the community gathered to pay tribute to the firefighters who lost their lives, like that. The next, alliance, this is a noun. It is a formal agreement between countries or groups to work together. An example is the military alliance meant that if one country was attacked, the others would help. Like America and South Korea have a military alliance. All right. French President Emmanuel Macron arrived in South Korea on Thursday for a 2-day state visit, making it the first time a French president has visited the country since 2015. For Macron personally, it is his first trip to Seoul since he became president back in 2017. The visit is a significant moment for relations between the two countries, which are celebrating 140 years of diplomatic ties this year. The main meeting between President Macron and South Korean President Lee Jae-myung took place on Friday at Cheongwadae, the presidential office in Seoul, and the two leaders announced a major upgrade to their relationship, agreeing to establish what they're calling a global strategic partnership. This is an important step forward. The two countries had not upgraded the official level of their relationship since 2004. So this new agreement represents 22 years of waiting for a deeper connection. During his visit, Macron also paid tribute at the War Memorial of Korea to honor the French soldiers who fought during the Korean War. France was one of the countries that sent troops to support South Korea during that conflict in the early 1950s. And the memorial moment was seen as a respectful acknowledgement of that shared history. The areas of cooperation discussed between the two leaders include trade and investment, artificial intelligence, nuclear energy, space exploration, and quantum technology. President Lee emphasized in an article he wrote for the French newspaper Le Figaro that cooperation between the two countries must go beyond a simple partnership and become a true strategic alliance. The visit also had some cultural flavor. A dinner hosted on Thursday night featured Korean cuisine prepared by a well-known chef who appeared on Netflix's popular culinary Class Wars, 흑백 요리사. Signed albums from BTS, Stray Kids, and G-Dragon were prepared as gifts for France's First Lady, Brigitte Macron. Felix from Stray Kids, who serves as an honorary ambassador for France, also attended the official luncheon on Friday. After the summit, Macron gave a speech at Yonsei University and attended a business forum where he met with the leaders of major Korean companies, including Samsung, Naver, and Hyundai Motor, looking to strengthen economic ties between the two nations. This next story will use these vocabulary. Semiconductor is a noun. It means, well, I'm sure you can guess, but a material or device, such as a computer chip, that conducts electricity under some conditions but not others. It's used in electronic devices. For example, South Korea is one of the world's largest producers of semiconductors. Surplus is a noun. It means an amount of something that is more than what is needed. In trade, when a country exports more than it imports, that is a surplus. The country used its budget surplus to invest in new schools and hospitals, for example. A boom is a noun. It means a period of rapid growth or increase, especially in business or the economy. Example, the technology boom created thousands of new jobs in the city. South Korea has just recorded the best export month in its history, and the numbers are truly remarkable. According to data released by the Ministry of Trade, Industry, and Energy this week, South Korea's exports in March 2026 reached $86.13 billion. This is the first time in the country's history that monthly exports have ever exceeded $80 billion. It also easily breaks the previous record of $69.5 billion, which was set just 3 months earlier, in December 2025. Compared to March of last year, exports grew by 48.3%, which is the strongest annual growth rate Korea has ever seen since 1988. This is also the 10th month in a row that Korea has recorded year-on-year export growth. The main driver of this success is semiconductors, the electronic chips used in computers, smartphones, artificial intelligence systems, and data centers. Semiconductor exports in March totaled $32.83 billion, which is a 151.4% increase compared to the same month last year. This is also the first time semiconductor exports have ever exceeded $30 billion in a single month. Together, semiconductors accounted for about 70% of the total increase in exports. Why such a huge jump in chip demand? The global boom in artificial intelligence is a big part of the answer. Companies around the world are building large AI data centers, and those data centers require enormous numbers of memory chips. Korean companies like Samsung and SK Hynix are world leaders in producing exactly these types of chips. Memory chip prices have also risen sharply, with some products jumping more than 8 times in price compared to last year. In terms of where Korea is sending its goods, exports to China rose 65% to $16.5 billion. My mistake. While exports to the United States rose 47.1% to $16.34 billion. Korea has also recorded a trade surplus, meaning it exported more than it imported, of $25.74 billion, which is also a new record. It is worth noting that this strong performance happened despite the ongoing conflict in the Middle East, which has disrupted global shipping and pushed up energy prices. Exports to the Middle East itself actually fell by nearly half because of the situation there. Before we continue, I want to give a special thank you to our channel members who support this podcast every week. JKGE94FO, Mark Kim 1855, and Excellent Mango. You guys are great. Thank you so much. Your contributions help this content keep it free for everybody. If you'd like to help and become a channel member as well, there's a link down below. No pressure at all. This is just if you want to. Now let's talk about an event that happened this week that will be remembered for decades to come. The first word we'll use is crude. C-R-E-W-E-D, not the other one. This is an adjective. It means carrying human crew members as opposed to being controlled remotely. An example, the first crewed mission to Mars will be one of the greatest challenges in human history. The next is inclusive. It's an adjective. It means making an effort to include people from different groups and backgrounds. For example, the new hiring policy was designed to be more inclusive of people from different backgrounds. Orbit is a noun and a verb. It can be used like this: the curved path of an object moving around a planet or a star, or anything with a lot of mass, like orbiting a black hole, for example, or a quasar. An example, the satellite completes one orbit around the Earth every 90 minutes. On Wednesday, April 1st, NASA launched 4 astronauts on a journey to the moon. And it was not an April Fool's joke. Surprise, surprise. The Artemis II mission lifted off from Kennedy Space Center in Florida at 6:35 in the evening, local time. It is the first crewed mission to travel toward the moon since the Apollo 17 mission in December 1972. That means humans have not traveled this far into space for 53 years. The moment the rocket left the ground, it was already making history. The 4 crew members are Commander Reed Wiseman, pilot Victor Glover, mission specialist Christina Koch, all from NASA, and mission specialist Jeremy Hansen from the Canadian Space Agency. The crew includes several historic firsts. Victor Glover is the first black astronaut to travel to the moon. Christina Koch is the first woman to take the journey as well. And Jeremy Hansen is the first Canadian to travel beyond Earth's orbit. These are all not small achievements. They represent a major step toward or forward in making space exploration more inclusive. The mission itself lasts approximately 10 days with splashdown in the Pacific Ocean planned for April 10th. The spacecraft, named Orion and carrying the nickname Integrity, will travel approximately 252,000 miles from Earth, farther than any human has ever traveled in history, breaking the record set by Apollo 13 mission in 1970. It is important to understand that this mission will and will not do. The Artemis II crew will not land on the moon. Instead, they will fly around it, including getting a rare view of the far side of the moon, which is the side that faces away from Earth always. They will be the first humans ever to see that side up close, as close as they are going to go. It has been seen before. The mission is designed to test the systems and equipment that will be needed for future missions, including a crewed moon landing planned for 2028. Commander Reed Wiseman captured the mood beautifully after launch. Looking at Earth from space, he described seeing the entire globe from pole to pole, with Africa, Europe, and even the northern lights all visible at once. I don't know what we all expected to see at that moment, he said, but it was breathtaking. The world is watching closely as the crew makes their journey. If all goes according to plan, they will return to Earth, as I said, on April 10th, and the era of returning humans to the moon will have truly began. All right, now let's talk about something that sounds a little bit similar to my name. The first word will be reactor. This is a noun. It is a device used to produce nuclear energy in a controlled way. An example is the nuclear reactor provides electricity for more than 1 million homes. Domestic, this is an adjective. It means relating to one's own country, produced or happening within a country. An example, the government is trying to increase domestic food production to reduce imports. And finally, capacity. This is a noun as well. It means the maximum amount that something can produce or contain. An example, the factory is running at full capacity to meet the high demand. All right. South Korea has restarted one of its nuclear power reactors after it had been shut down for 3 years. And the timing could not be more important given the current energy situation. The Kori 2 nuclear reactor, no relation, located in Kichanggun in Busan, began commercial operations all the way back on July 25th, 1983. That makes it more than 40 years old. In April 2023, the reactor was shut down as it reached the end of its originally planned operating life. However, after a thorough safety review, South Korea's government approved the reactor continue operating in November 2025. Now, Kori 2 is coming back online, and its return is very timely. The Middle East conflict has disrupted global energy supplies, pushing oil and gas prices significantly higher. South Korea relies heavily on imported energy, which makes the situation particularly difficult. Every source of domestic power generation matters. Nuclear energy provides a stable and consistent source of energy and electricity that does not depend on global oil and gas markets. Unlike oil or gas, nuclear fuel is not transported through the Strait of Hormuz. so the conflict in the Middle East does not directly interrupt its supply. This restart is part of a broader shift in South Korea's energy policy. Under President Lee Jae-myung's government, South Korea has moved toward embracing nuclear power as an important part of energy future, especially as the country looks to balance energy security with its environmental goals. Kori 2 is not South Korea's only reactor, but its return adds meaningful capacity to the national power grid at a time when stable electricity supply is very important, both for households and for the semiconductor factories and data centers that are driving Korea's record export numbers. All right, we're going to do a little sip break and do our little week in history thing again. I really liked it last time, and I hope you guys did too. All right, this week in history, on April 4th, 1968, civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee. He was 39 years old at the time. Dr. King is one of the most important figures in American history, known for his extraordinary speeches and his peaceful leadership of the movement to end racial discrimination and give Black Americans equal rights under the law. His most famous speech, as you well know, was I Have a Dream speech and was delivered in Washington, D.C. in 1963 and called for a future where all people would be judged by their character and not the color of their skin. Dr. King was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964. His death shocked the world and led to widespread protests across the United States. Today, the third Monday of January every year is celebrated in the United States as Martin Luther King Jr. Day, a national holiday in his honor. It is a powerful reminder that the progress we take for granted today was often won at a great personal cost by individuals who chose to stand up for what was right. That's it for this week in history. We're going to move now into our other news segment called Push Yourself. This one is called Push Yourself because the story uses more advanced English. It's around a C1 level or C2 with more complex vocabulary, and I will speak it more quickly. Don't worry if you don't understand everything on the first listen. It's not supposed to be understandable at the first time. The goal is to expose yourself to more difficult English. It trains your ears, okay? You can check the transcript down below and listen to it again if you need to. All right, let's go. Get ready. The first word we're going to talk about is inadvertently. It's an adverb. It means without intending to, accidentally, as a result of not paying careful attention. An example, she inadvertently sent the private email to the entire company mailing list. Number 2, proliferate. This is a verb. It means to increase rapidly in number, to spread or multiply really quickly. An example is misinformation tends to proliferate on social media platforms where content is rarely verified. Scrutinize is a verb. It means to examine something very carefully and in detail, often looking for problems or errors. An example is auditors were brought in to scrutinize the company's financial records before the merger. All right, here we go. On March 31st, 2026, Anthropic, the artificial intelligence company behind Claude AI Assistant, accidentally exposed their entire source code of its Claude Code software, one of the most commercially successful AI coding tools in the world. The incident was caused not by hackers or by a cyber attack, but by a simple human error in the software packaging process. The leak occurred when Anthropic released version 2.1.88 of Claude Code to the public software registry that developers use to download and update the applications. A routine software configuration oversight meant that the release inadvertently bundled a 60 megabyte debugging file, which contained a reference point pointing to a publicly accessible archive on Anthropic's own cloud storage. That archive held the complete TypeScript source code, approximately 513,000 lines spread across nearly 2,000 files. A security researcher named Chao Fan Chao discovered the exposure within hours and disclosed it publicly. The internet responded with remarkable speed. Within hours, thousands of developers had downloaded, mirrored, and dissected the code, with repositories on GitHub accumulating tens of thousands of stars and forks almost instantaneously. The leak revealed not only the internal architecture of cloud code, but also Claude code, why am I saying cloud? Cloud code, but also dozens of unreleased features hidden behind configuration flags, capabilities that Anthropic had built but not yet made available to users. Anthropic responded swiftly, acknowledging the incident and characterizing it as a packaging error stemming from human oversight rather than a security breach. No customer data or credentials were compromised. The company issued takedown notices under the Digital Millennial Copyright Act, initially targeting over 8,100 GitHub repositories. However, this response itself became the subject of controversy because of how GitHub's repository structure works. The sweeping takedown notices inadvertently ensnared thousands of legitimate forks of Anthropic's own public Claude code repository. Developers who had done nothing wrong found their projects suddenly disabled without warning. Anthropic subsequently retracted all but 96 of the notices to GitHub, restored access to the affected repositories. The episode compounds what has been a turbulent stretch for the Anthropic regarding operational security. It was at least the third significant leak the company had experienced within a year. The timing is particularly sensitive, given that Anthropic is reportedly planning a public stock offering, for which investors typically scrutinize a company's internal process and risk management with considerable rigor. The exposed code has, despite all cleanup efforts, effectively entered permanent circulation. Developers have rewritten portions of it from scratch in other programming languages, and distributed mirrors continue to proliferate beyond the reach of copyright enforcement. The leak handed competitors a detailed engineering blueprint at no cost, while simultaneously demonstrating that even companies at the frontier of AI development remain vulnerable to the most elementary of release process failures. Good job. All right. Now we can return to a B1, B2 level speed and get back into the mood, okay? This last story is our good vibes, good story, and we'll do it back at B1 level. The first word we'll learn is advocacy. This is a noun. It means active support for a cause or for the rights of a person or group. Example, her work in patient advocacy helped change hospital policies that had ignored vulnerable patients. Residency is a noun. It means a period of advanced medical training that a doctor completes in a hospital after finishing medical school. An example is, after graduating from medical school, he began a 3-year surgical residency at the city hospital. This is a difficult one to say. Anesthesiology. This is a noun. It means the medical specialty focused on administering anesthesia and managing pain for patients during a surgery. An example is, she chose anesthesiology because it combines precision, quick thinking, and direct patient care. And now let's end today's episode with a story that has moved millions of people around the world. Shay Taylor Allen has come full circle in an extraordinary way. She was born at Yale New Haven Hospital in New Haven, Connecticut. As a teenager, she worked there as a janitor, and now, at 32 years old, she is returning to that same hospital, this time as a doctor. Shay's story begins after high school graduation. Despite finishing in the top 10% of her class, she did not go to college right away. She and her family simply did not know how to navigate the college application process or financial aid. Her mother was a single parent, and neither of them had a roadmap for higher education. So, at 18 years old, Shay took a job cleaning patient rooms, psychiatric units, and offices at Yale New Haven Hospital. For nearly a decade, 10 years, that was her life. Everything changed during her time at university. Her mother became severely ill and was repeatedly dismissed by doctors who could not figure out what was wrong. Feeling desperate, Shay did something bold. She reached out to the hospital's chief executive, whose office she had cleaned. The CEO helped connect the family with a new medical team, and her mother was eventually diagnosed correctly with a rare condition called vocal cord dysfunction. That experience changed Shay's direction completely. She saw firsthand how powerful patient advocacy could be, and she decided she wanted to do that for others. She enrolled in biology at Southern Connecticut State University while also working, and later attended Howard University College of Medicine, one of the most respected medical schools for training doctors who plan to serve underrepresented communities. On March 20th, she learned she had matched for a residency in anesthesiology at Yale New Haven Hospital, the very same hospital where she had once pushed a cleaning cart through the halls. Her reaction was captured on video and went viral with more than 3.7 million views on social media. In the clip, she screams, jumps up and down, and collapses into the arms of the people she loves, overwhelmed with emotion. She said, "I would never have imagined this. To come back to the place, the same place, it means everything." Shay's message to the others is simple and powerful. I want them to keep going. I want them to not take no as a final answer. And that brings us to the end of this edition of Digestible News. Thank you so much for listening today. We covered a lot of ground today. BTS's incredible 2.0 music video, as well as many other interesting news stories. Remember, you can find the full transcript, vocabulary list, and everything down below in the first comment. And the link in the description down below, as I said. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a like and a subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future editions, and it also helps us out a lot. I'll be back on Tuesday with the next edition, and we'll have more news from Korea and around the world. Until then, keep practicing English. Don't give up. We'll see you in the next episode. Stay curious. Signing off. Bye-bye.